Hey everyone, I wanted to go ahead and introduce you to a brand new game that seemingly seems to have leaked due to some of the information getting out there before the developers perhaps would have actually wanted to. And that's because we're talking about Trinity Trigger. This is a brand new game that is set to come to the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. But interestingly enough, just last week we ended up getting rumors that Project Tri was going to be a rather massive JRPG that was going to be announced in the future from a couple of notable developers who were coming together to form a brand new studio. Of course, no trailers or more information was revealed, but we did get a couple of confidential concept art shots, which you should be able to see at the back end of the video. And we did actually have some official names as well, like Nobuteru Yuki, one of the world designers for Trials of Mana and the original Chrono Cross. Raita Kazana, one of the character creators and developers for the original Xenoblade and Puzzles and Dragons. We also had confirmation that Yura Kubota from Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default 2 back at Square Enix was a character scenario there who was going to be working in this game as well. We also had confirmation that Hiroki Kikuta from Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana was going to be composing the music, and then a whole host of different designers like Atsuko Nishida, Tomohiro Kitakaze, and Megumi Mituzuni, all from the Pokemon series, were also going to be joining this group of developers. So it's a star-studded cast of people coming together to form essentially Trinity Trigger, which last week was only known as Project Tri. Now, fast forward this entire week, and we got confirmation thanks to GamesTalk.net, which I'm going to leave a link in the description below. They went ahead and provided an entire article in Japanese, giving us some information, and we got the screenshots as well, which is something you should be seeing on screen right now, which then Gamatsu went ahead and translated. So I'm going to leave a link to their article as well, where we now have a pretty defined outlook as to what this game is going to be all about. And not only does it seem to be made up of rather talented developers, but they're certainly trying to aim extremely high with this one. So first and foremost, they confirmed that the game is set to release this fall, but it could potentially be pushed back to the winter season as well, maybe even early 2023, but they're aiming for before the end of the year in 2022. They also confirmed that it's a 90s era traditional RPG experience, but for the modern age with modern sensibilities. They confirmed that the new title from developers have previously worked in many traditional fantasy RPGs, and like I went over just a minute ago, the list is staggering of just talented people working on this game. It is a story focuses on a young man caught up in a fate to survive and save the world. You'll be exploring fields and discovering plenty of treasure. The gameplay is going to be focusing on mainly action-based gameplay, so no turn-based combat here. You're going to be, real-time combat situations. They mentioned that long ago, the gods of the order and the gods of chaos fought for control of the world, and you're basically picking up the pieces. They mentioned that great weapons fell on the land, and the world began to collapse. Each of the gods chose a proxy warrior, something like a warrior of the gods, and decided that the winner would be determined by the battles between the warriors themselves. Then some time decided to pass, and Cyan, a young man living a quiet life in a small village, one day learns that he is a chosen warrior of God, chosen by the gods themselves. He is burdened with a cruel fate, where he sets out on a journey to fight against the destiny of Ares and Santis. These are the other two characters that presumably are going to join in his adventure. So you're going to have three main protagonists. Together, the three can change the fate of the entire world. They mentioned that the classic isometric action 90s era feel is something that the developers are aiming to get with polished modern age visual mechanics. They also mentioned that fighting is action based with no turn-based battles and switching between characters with between 8 total weapon types for each one of the characters. So there's going to be plenty of choices for you to be able to find whatever playstyle you choose to desire. They mentioned that combat is rather intricate, so you're going to be finding openings on enemies' attacks, and you're going to have to make the best use of a bad situation. So you can't just be button mashing your way through, be able to find victories. Players can put together combos, weapon upgrades, and plenty of effects. There's going to be over 60 area maps to discover, including forest, with glowing mushrooms, snowy mountains, deserts with both ice and fire as well. They mentioned that fields have numerous treasure chests, cuttable weeds, breakable rocks, paths, and pretty much all the typical stuff you can expect. Dungeon exploration offers endless sense of discovery, and tons of diverse mechanics will ensure that whenever you're traveling, you never get bored. Discoveries will be made via the people you meet in different towns, and you may even uncover treasures by talking to specific characters. Discovering the truth of this world is essential if you wish to reach the pinnacle of the end of the game. So obviously those are mostly outlines. It doesn't necessarily tell us like what the character's real motivations are, or what the combat is really going to be like, what some of the enemy encounters are going to look like, more importantly, what boss encounters are going to look like, if the story is really going to hold up or anything along those lines. We don't necessarily know. The screenshots give us some impressions as to what they're trying to show at the end of the day. We'll probably get a better look at it whenever they decide to give us an official trailer, but again, all this information leaked ahead of time, so they weren't necessarily prepared to kind of get this out there. Presumably we should be not only getting more information on the title, but most likely getting an official reveal trailer, probably as we head into the E3 season, or the summer games reveal season, whatever we're going to end up calling it now, since E3 is kind of gone. But presumably this is a game that could appear on the Nintendo Direct, at the very least on the Japanese Nintendo Direct. But there's going to be so many different presentations that we're going to have to go over, that of course any one of them is going to most likely be showcasing this game. Again, it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's also coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So that means that developers are fully aware of the gamut of visuals that they're going to need to cover. Where the Nintendo Switch is most likely going to be the more limited visually version of the game, but PlayStation 5 shouldn't have any compromises whatsoever. So we should be able to see the game fully flex its muscle if it's really going to be a visual showcase as they're claiming it to be. Again, the developers are extremely talented. They're coming from games that have already proven something in the industry. So we're just going to have to wait and see if they really hold up with what they're trying to promise. We did also get a closer look at the box art, so you should be seeing those on screen right now for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Nintendo Switch version as well. Not really much to take away. The box arts are interesting. There are the concept arts as well. We're going to be posting those on screen as well. You should be able to see them there. And, you know, it's just interesting. Again, a lot of nebulous information there. Nothing really big takeaways. Most of the information will really come when we actually get a first official look at the trailer. But this is kind of like what happens with leaks. You know, information just gets out there, and you kind of have to disseminate it as best as possible to see what to make out of it. But that's about all the information that I wanted to go over with you guys today regarding Trinity Trigger, a game that is set to release on the Switch, PS4, and PS5 this fall. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.